Hey guys, so back with another video today, and I figured we would do a sequel series to the things I don't like videos that I did, and we will be going in order of the videos that I did there. So today we will be doing a video on things that I do like about Studio Series 86. Now, in the video that I did, I might have come off a bit harsh and like I didn't like G1. That wasn't the case. So this is just kind of meant. This is just kind of to go through and say that hey, there are things I do like about the line, despite my grievances with it. And jumping right in, we have the overall look of the figures. I mean, who would have thought Perceptor, one of the most obscure characters from the original cartoon, who's only had like one or two actual appearances that resemble his G1 form, would be one of the best figures to come out this year. Like the fact that Hasbro, sorry, took like a mold from the Prime Wars trilogy, which is a pretty good mold. Speaking of which, Coronation Starscream. This is how you do a re-release of an older figure. You take the mold, the shape of it, you take away some of the detail, and you make it look like it's actually a part of the line it's supposed to be in. And sorry, that was a bit of a rant. We'll get to that later. But yeah, no, who would have thought Perceptor of all characters would actually get a great figure in the Studio Series 86 line? Who would have thought he got a figure, period? I mean, talking about a character that hardly anyone knows about. Like, your hardcore Transformers fans and your more knowledgeable fans know about him, but your casual fans, your people who are just starting in the fandom, they don't know who Perceptor is. They barely know who Hot Rod is. I mean, the only time that the casual or the new coming fan will know who Hot Rod is if they've watched The Last Night, and that's not Hot Rod. I don't care what they say. But even Hot Rod here, despite the horrible shoulder articulation, despite the fact that he doesn't do anything really special with anything he's given, still looks really good. So yeah, the overall look of the line, I mean, of course, the line has had its missteps. I mean, Blur was a pretty big letdown of a figure. Cup has his issues. Cliffjumper has his issues, despite me still liking the figure overall. And, there are a few re-releases that I don't get, why are they still using the same bad RC mold that they've been using for the past, 10 years now? But overall, the line looks really great. So, moving on, the Buzzworthy Bumblebee releases. These are some of the best re-releases ever. I mean, in my original video, I pointed out the overuse of clear plastic, and I mentioned cups specifically. This looks so much better than his actual Studio Series 86 release. This reads much closer to the actual G1 cartoon than that original release did. And of course, I don't have the Buzzworthy Bumblebee release of Cliffjumper on the screen here, but he's also looks so much better than this guy does. And I got people in the comment section of that original video that were saying, well, it's supposed to pay homage to the toy, which I understand in most cases. I understand wanting to pay homage to both the CG or the computer model and the toy, but in a line that's called Studio Series, where the goal is to match as close as humanly possible to the on-screen depiction, I don't think that's the place where you want to start paying homage to the toys. Now, there is a place for that. Gnaw did it really good, where they put his gun into his package with him. That's paying homage to the original toy. Gnaw didn't have a gun in the movie, but his toy did. So that's a good way of paying homage to the toy while still being mostly screen accurate. Cup having a clear plastic chest, yes, it pays homage to his toy, but it's not screen accurate. And the whole point of Studio Series is screen accuracy. Now, of course, there's going to be figures that drop the ball on that. I mean, there's just some designs that no matter what you do, they're going to be inaccurate. I mean, RC regardless of how you look at it, is always going to have a massive backpack on her. It's not going to happen anytime soon. It, like, even third party figures have not figured out how to get that backpack done properly. So, but yeah, and that's not even, I don't even have an image of him. Hound looks amazing. Like, that is one of the best reuses of an already good mold ever. Like, taking the, I believe it was Siege Hound, and just minimalizing the detail, brightening the colors up, smoothing out the surfaces, that it immediately reads more like G1 Hound than Coronation Starscream will ever read. Sorry, I keep bringing that figure up. I just really do not like that figure. Moving on before I get too caught up. The Dinobots. Even Sludge, despite all of his issues, despite the lack of secure tabbing on his backpack wings, despite the loose hips, looks amazing. Grimlock looks amazing. Slug looks and feels amazing. I don't have Grimlock because I refuse to pay $150 for a leader class figure. But the other two I do have, and they look great standing next to each other. But, like, who would have, like, seriously, these are definitively the best G1 representations of the Dinobots that are at the retail level, that are mass produced. I mean, sure, you could probably go to some third-party source and they'd probably have better-looking figures that hold up better. But to be able to go to a Walmart or to go to a Target and find figures that look and feel as good as majority of these do, I mean, Sludge, of course, has those issues, but the other two, as far as I know, feel great. But to be able to go to a Walmart or a Target or even stores that are a bit smaller or your local comic book store, and to be able to find these for $50, $60, except for Grimlock, who's like $150. Yeah, no, the fact, like, even Grimlock's clear plastic chest, which I do still have issue with, and I still have issue with it on Perceptor here, and I even have issue with it on Hot Rod, especially on Hot Rod, because the clear plastic on him is so freaking thin, I'm afraid I'm going to snap his windshield every time I transform him. But moving on. Like, even though he does have that clear plastic bit on his chest, it still looks great. And I know I used him in that original video, but still. It's still a great figure. I just didn't like the clear plastic on him, which the other two don't have any clear plastic, which I'm really glad about. Moving on, the consistency with the releases is amazing. We get a new Studio Series 86 figure with almost every single wave of figures that comes out. I mean, I can't remember a wave in the past year where there has not been one or two Studio Series 86 figures. Now, of course, I might be remembering things wrong, but the fact that the live action Studio Series figures are like, well, you might have one with a wave in the beginning of the year, and then you'll have two in a wave like towards the middle of the year, versus Studio Series 86, where it's like you'll have at least a Studio Series 86 figure, at least one, with every single wave of figures that comes out that year. That's great. I love when Hasbro consistently releases figures. Now, there is an issue with that. I believe that the live action Studio Series has taken a back seat, but also you can understand why that might be the case, because those figures are so much harder to engineer, because those CGI models are impossible to get done properly. Like, here, I have Cliffjumper here. This looks great. It is a re-release of his, I believe, Earthrise model. And yeah, he does parts form. But parts forming has its place, and he's one of the only 86 figures that actually parts forms. Perceptor looks great. And then, you have figures like the live-action Hot Rod, which looks amazing, but is over-engineered. Like, it feels like something that was supposed to be built at the Voyager level, but because of the vehicle, he had to be crammed into a deluxe class figure. So the engineering on the live-action figures definitely is what's causing that lack of consistency with releases. Now, the Bumblebee movie figures, those came out fairly consistently, and all of them look great, with the exception of Car Shatter and Dropkick, but I've already covered Shatter in This Toy Sucks video. So moving on before I get too far on a tangent here. So just the final thing, I don't hate G1. That's the biggest thing I want to get across. I do not hate Generation 1. I think it's been overexposed. I think we've had too much of it recently, but I don't hate it. I didn't grow up with it. I'm going to say there's no strong connection to it, but that doesn't mean I hate it. I mean, I grew up with the movies and a bit of Transformers Prime. Those are my G1. The first Transformers movie I ever saw was, I believe, Revenge of the Fallen, which at the time I really liked, but now I realize is not that great of a movie. In fact, the oldest figure in my collection right now is the Revenge of the Fallen skits that I believe came out in the original line of figures. Followed closely by Reveal the Shield Sea Spray, who is technically a Revenge of the Fallen release, but that gets into whole sublines and different things like that. But I do not hate G1. So I did watch a little bit of G1 growing up, but it was like on Discovery Kids, or like what is now Discovery Kids, but like back in 2010 or 11, and it came on at like 5 in the morning. So the only time I would watch it is if I woke up like super, super early. And then you get into, oh, well, I could record it and watch it, but they'd play the same 3 or 4 episodes over and over again. So I don't hate... I did watch a little bit of G1 growing up, but I grew up with the movies. And I hold more connection to the live-action movies than I do to G1. Which is why in that original video, I think I kind of made it seem as though I didn't want G1 to get its day, which... I do want it to get its day. I just think we've had so much of it going on. We've had, let's see, Prime Wars Trilogy went on from 2015 through 2017. And then we had the Netflix trilogy, which went on until 2020. Or no, it wasn't 2020, 2021. And then now we're getting into Studio Series 86 that we've had 7 years of G1. So it's not that I don't like G1, it's just that it's been overexposed by this point. So with all that rambling, with all those detours, those were the things that I do actually like about Studio Series 86. Sorry. So yeah, with all that being said, I hope some of you now realize kind of where I'm coming from as far as my original grievances in the video and my viewpoint of it all. So gonna end it here before I get too far off topic. Remember, 100 subscribers, yada yada yada. I will see you guys some other time. Guys, I need your help. Okay, so the algorithm is the number one enemy of all YouTube channels. Any YouTube channel that's trying to start up or isn't pre-established is going to fail because of the algorithm. So what I need you to do, I need you to do 2 things. 1, I need you to hit like. 2, I need you to subscribe. If you don't do either of those things, this channel is not going to be able to stay afloat for very long. So please, like, subscribe, and if you really like me, you might leave a comment while you're at it. Thank you very much.